Hello, N4HNH here with the Yaesu FT3DR. Brent had a great question. He was asking how I prepare for a SOTA outing as far as what frequencies I'm going to operate and do I have them preloaded into memory. So I'll go ahead and answer that with a video here. Let me get back to the main screen. So the FT3DR, of course, has two VFOs. It can receive simultaneously on both, and you can use it for VHF or UHF simultaneously. So I'm going to tap the AB button and go over here to VFO-B, and the knob here, not the ring, but the knob adjusts which frequency I'm going to listen to on VFO-B. So I'll show you how I've got this programmed. And the same, I could do the same with VFO-A. So you can see I've got VFO-A on 14652. Hint, hint, I listen usually on 14652 when I'm hiking up a summit for summits on the air, and also when I'm hiking down. The reason is I may hear some stations out there that I could ask to hang around for a few minutes until I get to the summit so I can make contact with them. I like to get my first four contacts on VHF or UHF, usually VHF, before I pull out HF. And in fact, sometimes that is just the insurance you need if you get up to the summit and you get your contacts on VHF, and then all of a sudden a storm moves in or something happens that prevents you from being able to set up HF. So I generally listen to 146.52. I call it chumming for contacts. In fact, sometimes even while I'm en route in the vehicle, I may get on a couple of local repeaters in the area and let some people know that hey, I'm with my brother or whoever I'm with, a friend, and we're headed up to hike a mountain, and would you listen for us on 146.52? So that's why you see that at the top, because I actually am preparing to go out on a trip here and do some activations for SOTA summits on the air. So here's what I have programmed into this radio, and it'll be different for your area, but I'll give you the reasoning here. So the very first thing I have is in memory 1, I have one of the North Georgia long range repeaters. This one happens to have incredible coverage up into the Carolinas as well, Tennessee. And in the mountainous areas, this one really helps us out a whole lot. It can cover some of the mountainous areas where VHF struggles. Then after that, I have another repeater, a VHF repeater. See, that one was UHF. It's our friend Pete. You see the name up there, Pete UHF, Pete, and then Pete VHF. Pete maintains these two repeaters, and he does it as a service to the amateur community. He's just an absolutely fine person, as well as his ex-YL. They're both hams, and they're both wonderful people. So Pete has a VHF repeater as well that is wide range. So those are the two I keep in first two slots. And then there's another wide range repeater. And you know, why do you think I have these in the first memories? Emergency purposes, in case something were to happen and we needed to get over to a repeater to call for help. And then after that are just some other repeaters that are, you know, in our area here in North Atlanta. Now, then I get over to, after the repeaters, and I've just got mainly the ones for the Atlanta area. And then I do have some that are in areas that we frequently hike, like here, Cleveland, Georgia, Cartersville, Covington, not so much. We don't hike out that way. Toccoa, yes. Murphy, North Carolina. So a lot of the summits that we hike are up in that area. Murphy, Asheville. This is a repeater we keep in their memory just in case, again, we need some help and we're in that area. And Andrews, North Carolina is another very wide range repeater. And then there's Chattanooga for in case I'm over in that area. So yeah, kind of to answer the question, what I've done is programmed in the emergency repeaters, the one with the widest coverage generally first. Then some of my Metro Atlanta repeaters that I just get on, you know, to talk to friends. And then later in the memories are these repeaters that in areas where I would go for summits on the air and would consider using as for emergency purposes. And sometimes, honestly, sometimes for chumming. If I've got 3 contacts and I've been working on it for an hour on VHF, let's say I didn't even take an HF rig with me, and that is the challenge of summits on the air. If you go back and look at the history of it, it started out on VHF, and that's why they only require 4 simplex contacts. It can be quite a challenge to get 4 simplex contacts, even when you're on a mountaintop, especially when you're out in a rural area. And of course, everybody knows there aren't really enough people monitoring simplex anymore. Everybody likes to migrate toward the repeaters. So that's another thing that SOTA helps do, is keep simplex alive. And so you'll find SOTA operators on those simplex frequencies, which I'll get to in a minute. So after the repeaters, then there is 144.390. So that's the frequency that we use for APRS messaging. So if you've watched my previous videos about APRS messaging, you definitely want to program that one into a memory, and that's the one you want to dial into VFO2, VFOB, while you're hiking, if you want to send out beacons for your location, which is a very good thing to do. But also you can post a spot. So this is the frequency that you want for the US if you're going to post spots or beacons via APRS. And then after that are the common simplex frequencies, 146.46, 146.475, 146.49. A lot of people around North Atlanta hang around on that one just for rag chew and friendship, just friendly QSOs. There's 505 and then 52. Of course, that's the national call channel. 535, just another alternate. And you guys who might be new to the hobby, we generally will use 146.52 as a call channel, and if we're going to have a long QSO, then we'll ask the station to move over to something like 535 or 550. And so I should mention that the 146.550 is very popular, for example, in North Carolina. So there'll be people on that one maybe more often than they would be even on 5.2. And then I have 565 and 580. After that, I have 446.000. That is the call channel for UHF. Call channel for UHF. So if you're a SOTA activator and you want to see if you might possibly catch somebody monitoring the call channel for UHF so you can get a contact, that's the one you want. So that's why I have that programmed in there. And then there's the, let me wait for that to go away. A little message here, because as soon as I hit 144.390, you see I got a message come through. So like I said, I usually leave the VFOB on 144.390 for APRS purposes. Now I'm going to switch AB back over to VFOA. And again, the same memories are available here. So now let's say I wasn't going to do APRS, but I want to maybe monitor just, for emergency reasons. That can get annoying sometimes when it switches that over. It takes over the radio. You have to wait on that to go away. There we go. So let's say I'm hiking along and I'm just going to monitor my friend Pete's repeater with VFO A. Well, then I might put, again, if I'm not going to use APRS, then I might put VFOB on 146.52. Now, whichever one is big and white is going to be the one you transmit on. So I'm going to go back. So I'm just going to monitor 146.52, but if I transmit, I will be transmitting on Pete's UHF repeater. So there you have it. That's my setup for SOTA. So again, just to kind of recap, program in perhaps in the earlier channels the repeaters that are in your area that you would consider for, they're long-range repeaters. So you would stand a better chance of getting into those if you had an emergency. And then I have my, my repeaters for just local rag chew here in the Atlanta area. And then again, after that, I'll go to repeaters that are out in the areas where I generally am hiking, just in case I needed some help while hiking. And then after that, I have my simplex frequencies. So now my modus operandi is usually 146.52 in VFO-A, and while I'm hiking, so that the beacon can go out. And watch my other video about how to turn on the beacon. It's not automatic. But then I'll put it on 144.390 in VFO-B. Now I will go back to VFO-A so that I can talk on 146.52 while I'm hiking. So I hope that helps give you some insight into how this radio it can be so effective. And if you go back and watch my first video, I think is the one, the introduction to the FT3DR, I showed something called club active monitoring, which is really, really nice. Now, you can't do that while also doing APRS, I'll tell you, but the club active monitoring is a mode that you can go into with the radio where, let's say I'm just going to give you a quick preview of that, and then you can go back and watch video 1 or the introduction video, I think I called it, to the FT3. So let's say I'm monitoring that repeater, but I also want to see if there's any activity on any of the simplex frequencies. So I'm going to press the function memory right button, and you see CAM, C-A-M, club active monitoring, and you create groups. So I've got a group there. You see group 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the maximum 5 frequencies in there. And I'll tell you what that's monitoring. I've got it set to monitor my favorite 5 simplex frequencies. Now I'm going to reach over here to my 2-meter base station, and let me put it on low power. Don't want to overload the front end of this little HT too much. And I'm going to transmit a signal. Again, I will be on low power. Now watch that bottom area. You see the signal coming up in the middle. Now I'm going to confess to you the other 3 that you see, N4H and H for ID, sorry. The other 3 that you see, I was talking to you guys and transmitting. I'm so close to that base station that it's overloading the front end of the radio a little bit, and that's why you're seeing that. This is an SDR. It doesn't have the kind of selectivity that you would get from a super heterodyne receiver, although the specs say that if you go to narrow FM, it does use dual super heterodyne, in fact for narrow FM and AM. So if you're around a tower site and you're having trouble hearing people, the front end's probably overloaded. Try narrow FM and see if that will help out. All right. So then also, and there's an attenuator in here that you could turn on too that would help out. Maybe I should shoot a video about that in the future. But basically, what this is telling me is that there's a signal out there. So I'm going to go ahead and tap this one, and you see it takes me to 146.52. So again, out in the real world, you're not going to see necessarily 4 of them like that. That was just from this radio over here being so close. But if you tap the bar that goes up, it'll put you automatically on the frequency that has traffic going on it. So it's kind of a way to know that there's a signal out there on another frequency, even though you weren't monitoring that frequency. So again, it's called club active monitoring. And you can do that as long as you don't if you're not using it as an APRS, if you're not using the APRS messaging function or beaconing. So again, I didn't mean to get into that, but I mentioned it, and I thought, well, okay, I'll give you a bonus there. So you can read the manual and find out a little bit more about that, but that's a really cool feature, club active monitoring. So I want to leave you with my normal setup, and that is I'm going to go to VFO-B, and I'm going to put it on 144.390, so I'm ready for hiking a mountain 4 summits on the air. Okay, hope you found the video helpful and informative. Thank you to my Patreons who help keep the channel alive with your $5, $10, and $20 a month support. And if anyone else wants to help out with that, go to www.patreon.com/N4HNH73 and have a great day.